These past few patches have been extremely hectic with a ton of meta-shifting changes. 13.3 is no exception, so who's come out on top and are looking like the most optimal carries? That's what we'll be covering in today's video, breaking down 3 of the best solo carries for every single role. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Despite Gangplank receiving some direct nerfs in 13.1b, the item changes have actually outweighed those nerfs as he's seen a spike in win rate. Essence Reaver buffs are the driving factor to Gangplank's newfound success as the item works amazing as a first purchase. Quick Blades was even buffed as well, and with the item being the most optimal second pickup for GP, he's absolutely thriving in 13.3. Completing this 2-item core as quick as possible is key to your success on GP, so farming efficiently is very important. Irelia is the only meta matchup the majority of GP players are struggling against, so she's a good ban option. The complete core build is an Essence Reaver rush into Quick Blade 2nd and Prowler's Claw or Gale Force 3rd. For runes, roll with First Strike as the keystone, followed by Freeboots, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Bone Plating and Overgrowth are great for secondaries. Other than Gangplank, there really hasn't been another top laner who's benefited more from recent changes than Jax. The fact Jax as an AD fighter can build Zhonya's as a core purchase really says enough about the champ. You have even more versatility thanks to the 13.1b item changes, as Black Cleaver is now a viable pickup in the correct spots. There are literally upwards of 5 builds Jax can run right now based on the situation, and all of them are insanely strong. Jax is similar to GP in the sense he spikes insanely hard off 2 items, so as long as you are even with the enemy when you reach that point, taking over the game becomes really easy. Standard core build for Jax is Divine Rush into Blade 2nd and Spear of Shojin 3rd. Black Cleaver, Wit's End, Frozen Heart, and Zhonya's are all viable alternatives though depending on the game. Divine is really the only staple must-buy for every game. Matchup-wise for Jax, he struggles into GP and Jace the most, so with both being highly prioritized in meta, either is well worth a ban. For the rune page, grab Lethal Tempo as the keystone and run with Resolve for secondaries, picking up Bone Plating and Unflinching. Shen has been in the top 3 for the entirety of Season 13, and he could very well be even stronger for 13.3. Radiant Virtue changes make the item less supportive and give the player who's building it more solo power. Although the cooldown of Radiant's passive is being increased, that doesn't matter for Shen since his R cooldown is much longer anyways. Radiant has actually been outperforming Heartsteel over the past few patches, so if you haven't tried it on Shen yet, definitely give it a go. With ADC massively buffed last patch, Shen's stocks are rising even higher. At level 6, map awareness and being able to impact bot lane with your ultimate is key to succeeding on Shen. Matchup wise for Shen, you can never go wrong with the Mord ban, but Gangplank is another good option with his prominence in the meta. Radiant or Heartsteel Rush into Sunfire 2nd and Thornmail 3rd is a standard core build for Shen. In games where you are behind and need to be more supportive, Redemption's 2nd item is working extremely well. Optimal rune page is Grasp as the keystone, with Domination for secondaries running Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter. 13.3 jungle changes aim to cut down on the power of early ganking, which in turn indirectly buffs an already powerful jungler in Evelynn. In a perfect world, Evelynn would love to just full clear to level 6, have all her lanes go even, and then begin dominating the map. With XP from large monsters being buffed this patch, hitting level 6 does become a little easier, which is great news for Eve. Our challenger jungler Skillshot is an Evelynn main and has a new commentary for the champ on our website if you're looking to learn the pick. Win condition for Evelynn is to limit the bleeding pre-6. Tracking the enemy jungler and pinging out where they will be on the map is so vital to your success on Eve. If you can hit 6 and the game is even, then as Evelynn it actually means you're ahead. Zac being a strong meta jungler who can stack magic resist is a good ban for Eve. The core build is a Rocket Belt Rush into Rabadon 2nd and Void Staff 3rd. Standard rune page is Electrocute with Sorcery for secondaries, running Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm. Despite the recent nerfs, Maokai has barely fallen in power and won't receive any further nerfs for 13.3, so he's going to remain a very powerful pick. Although Riot has labeled the jungle changes as nerfs to ganking, they more so just incentivize clearing your jungle efficiently. It's not like ganking won't be a vital part of the game due to these nerfs, and one of the best ganking junglers in Maokai will still be a great pick. With XP on camps being increased, what will happen is you'll just be punished a little harder now if the gank doesn't work out. That doesn't mean ganking won't be important, you just gotta pick and choose your openings a little more carefully. Good win condition for Maokai is to play for the winning bot lane. ADC buffs make the role more powerful, and we're even seeing a few engaged supports buff this patch like Nautilus and Rakan, so playing to bot will be ever so important. To execute this game plan, using your ban on a support like Morgana or Lulu who can limit your gank power is a good idea. 2 options for Maokai builds at the moment, as you can interchange Radiant Virtue and Liandry's depending on what your team needs. Are you lacking a strong front line and have plenty of damage? Go Radiant. Do you already have a tank top laner and support? Go Liandry's. Phase Rush is the most common keystone for Maokai, but we are seeing First Strike gaining some popularity and is an alternative option if you're running the full AP build. Farming junglers are going to be rewarded more in 13.3, so cracking the top 3 for another patch is Fiddlesticks. Similar to Evelynn, Fiddle would much rather just full clear to 6 and begin playing when his ultimate is available. Since Fiddle was already in a very solid spot the past few patches, he's going to be one of the best solo queue junglers off the back of these changes. Playing for bot lane ganks at level 6 is how you're going to snowball the hardest in 13.3, whether it be through lane ganks, flanking from behind, or just simply through the river. Fiddle has so many ways to approach a gank that it doesn't really matter where the lane is positioned, you can always pull something off. Maokai being really strong in meta and a good peel champion is a good ban for Fiddle. The build consists of a Rocket Belt Rush into Zanya 2nd and Shadow Flame or Void Staff 3rd. First Strike is the keystone with perfect timing, Futures Market, and Cosmic Insight. Optimal secondaries include Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter. Moving on to our mid lane picks, kicking off the top 3 is going to be Pantheon. Eclipse and Black Cleaver changes from 13.1b amplify the snowball power of Pantheon as they are his 2 core purchases. Panth also obliterates all the highly picked solo queue mid laners, being Kassadin, Zed, Yasuo, Katarina, and Yone. Only meta matchup you gotta worry about right now is Anivia, so she is our recommended ban. Win condition for Pantheon is to acquire mid priority and impact the map. Bot lane becoming stronger is another huge reason to why Pantheon mid can thrive in 13.3, as his semi-global presence is highly influential. The core build for Panth is an Eclipse Rush into Black Cleaver 2nd and Spear of Shojin 3rd. Run Press the Attack is the keystone with Triumph, Tenacity, and Coup de Grace. Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter are for secondaries. Rod and Archangel's users have been loving the past few patches, and Cassiopeia is in a phenomenal spot. With any Rod of Ages user, it's vital you are picking the item up as quick as possible to get it stacking. Even just a 1 or 2 minute delay on your Rod purchase can be a huge difference maker. Farming is important on every mid laner, but even more so for Cassiopeia. In easier matchups, it's really nice being able to take Ghost on Cass, but if you're in more pokey lanes where sustaining may be an issue, run the teleport so you don't miss out on any farm. Luckily for Cass, strong counters like Vel'Koz and Xerath aren't very popular in meta. Anivia in general is your best value ban right now due to her power level and higher play rate. Rod into Archangels and Rylai's is a staple core build for Cassio. For runes, pick up Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Mana Flow and Transcendence are optimal secondaries. Kassadin being hit with multiple nerfs as of recent gives us no doubt in saying Anivia is the #1 solo queue mid laner. Like Cass, Anivia is an amazing Rod and Archangel's abuser, so the recent buffs have been highly impactful. Our challenger mid laner Shori has a brand new commentary for you guys on our website detailing how to maximize Anivia's power. There aren't a ton of long-range mages being played in meta, which Anivia struggles more against. Ryze is the most played mage right now, and due to his shorter range, Anivia absolutely dominates that matchup in solo queue specifically. Kassadin is still likely the best ban for Anivia, even though he's been nerfed a few times, as there just isn't anything else you really gotta worry about. Of course, hitting Rod as quick as possible is key for Anivia, but another good win condition to play off of is abusing her strong zone control. Set up around objectives well before they spawn, and be ready to wall off enemies as they try to walk through choke points. Try to always be fighting around those tight corridors and limit your fighting in the middle of lane where the enemy has more room to maneuver. Rod into Archangels and Zanyas is the standard 3-item core for Anivia. Keystone Rune is Electrocute, and you can't go wrong with Precision for secondaries with Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace. Heading down to the bot lane, our first solo carry ADC of the patch is Jhin. Jhin has been a major winner from the crit item changes, as being able to purchase IE 2nd is huge for him. We're also seeing the support meta deviate away from enchanters like Yuumi and more towards buffed melee supports like Nautilus and Rakan. Jhin loves playing with those engaged supports, as chaining his W off their CC can lead to some really easy catch plays. The long range pick power is something that sets Jhin apart from most other ADCs and gives him the ability to impact games regardless of how ahead or behind the curve he is. Oftentimes, just landing that clutch W is going to end up being way more impactful than the actual damage you deal in a fight. ADCs that can jump in and easily punish Jhin's reload mechanic are good ban options, so Samira or Tristana are our recommendations. Build for Jhin is a Gale Force Rush into Infinity Edge 2nd and Rapid Fire Cannon 3rd. Roll with Fleet as the keystone and dip into Sorcery for secondaries, running Celerity and Gathering Storm. This is the first time in a while that Xayah has seen sustained time on top of the ADC meta. It's going to get even better in 13.3 as the Rakan buffs will make the duo even more devastating. The ability for Xayah to purchase Quickblade's second item has really bolstered her mid-game teamfight power. The raw upfront damage you can deal with 120 total AD from Gale Force and Quickblades makes capitalizing on catch plays so much easier. Win condition for Xayah is to hit that 2-item spike as soon as possible. Item spikes have always been important to play towards, but even more so now that Quickblades has been buffed. Matchup-wise, Xayah does quite well into shorter ranged ADCs, but struggles more into longer range picks, so Caitlyn is a good ban. Rune Page consists of lethal tempo with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Free Boots and Biscuits are the optimal secondaries. Rounding out the top 3 for ADC this patch is going to be Samira. Samira, being a champion that runs both Infinity Edge and Bloodthirster, benefited more than most ADCs from the item buffs. The 3 item core winning the most right now is Shield Bone to Infinity Edge 2nd and Bloodthirster 3rd. Samira is another ADC who loves playing with those aggro supports, so the changes to Alistar and Nautilus will solidify her spot on top of the meta even further. Xayah does a really good job at nullifying Samira's all-in threat, so she's a good ban to consider. Post 6 skirmish power with Shield Bow complete is where Samira can really take over games, so being proactive around that time frame is key. Runes for Samira consist of Conqueror as the keystone with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand. Run Taste of Blood and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. Fresh off his 13.3 buffs, we have Nautilus moving into a top 3 solo carry position. The bot lane meta is primed for Nautilus to become a top tier champion once again, as Samira, Caitlyn, Kai'Sa, and Jhin being the most picked ADCs is perfect for how Naut wants to play. As with any hook champion, a good win condition to play for throughout the early game is controlling side lane brush. Forcing the enemy to drop their ward on the side brush instead of in the river opens up easy gank plays for your jungler, and with Naut having incredible gank assist, you can set up plays very easily. Being a champion heavily reliant on landing his CC to be effective, Morgana is one of the best bans for Naut. Build is an Even Shroud Rush into Knight's Vow 2nd and Wardstone 3rd. Run Glacial as the keystone with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Best secondary runes are Bone Plating and Unflinching. Rakan has been a support on the verge of moving into a top tier position, so with the direct buffs in 13.3, it's the final push he needed. With Xayah in such an incredibly strong spot, doing up and abusing the Rakan Xayah combo is well worth it if you want some easy elo. The long range catch power is what makes Rakan so lethal, and it's important you play around it efficiently to see the most success. Oftentimes, inexperienced Rakan players will try and force their engages instead of letting the play come to them. Vision control is key for Rakan, as you want to be playing from the fog of war and looking for hard engage plays when the enemy oversteps. Due to Rakan's reliance on finding catch plays, Janna counters that extremely hard and is a good ban to consider. Ashurelia's Rush and Zeke 2nd and Knight's Vow 3rd is the standard core build for Rakan. Radiant Virtue had been a really sleeper rush item as well, but with the changes this patch, we're unsure of how strong it will be for support champions. The best rune page for Rakan revolves around Guardian as the keystone, while Zombie Ward and Ultimate Hunter work best for secondaries. And for the final solo carry champion of 13.3, Blitzcrank takes home the spot. These supports that can snowball off of one positive play are really great right now due to how much stronger ADCs have become. If you can play a good Blitz, then this meta is very rewarding for you. Melee disengage supports are who Blitz has more difficulties against, so banning Alistar is good value. Look for openings in lane off the enemy ADC wasting key damage spells. For example, if Kai'Sa uses Q to secure last hits, there's a window you can look to punish. Flash E is often more powerful than trying to land a long range hook, so when you see an all-in opening, it's more guaranteed if you can E first, then follow with Q. Core build for Blitz is Ashurelia's Rush into Zeke 2nd and Wardstone 3rd. Glacial is the optimal keystone with Hex Flash, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight. Grab Bone Plating and Unflinching for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So that wraps it all up for our best solo carries of 13.3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and we will see you in the next one.